everyone, how are you doing today? I have on just a black headband. I found it the other day. I didn't know I even had it. It was here, so I thought, oh, I'm gonna try a black headband. Hope that's okay with you. This video is gonna be a little bit different in terms of the whole makeup routine, because I have 5 products that I do believe can do the full face with the exception of mascara. And I'm talking about things from the line Flesh. Flesh is something you may have stumbled across on Ulta's website. Some of these sticks, you might think that they're minis, but they are the actual full size. And this line is actually created by, and let me just double check my info here so I can get it right. It's created by the founding editor-in-chief of Allure and the current chief creative officer at Revlon. Her name is Linda Wells, and this is basically the first prestige makeup line under Revlon's umbrella. So Revlon owns Almay, CND, and Sinful Colors. And Linda Wells told Allure, she says, think of this as an indie brand within the company. I feel like one of the main focuses of the line is the foundation, and what they are trying to do, I guess, by naming the line Flesh is to sort of bring attention to the fact that Flesh isn't just one color. You know, when you refer to one shade as being a nude lipstick or one thing as being skin tone, like Flesh is everything and all the skin tones. And so the foundation, even by the outer packaging, the packaging is different depending on the color that you have. It comes in 40 shades, and if you check out everything that is available right now on Ulta's website, they do have an eye palette out. I mean, they have some different lip things out, but I feel like a real focus of the line is like natural kind of dewy skin by way of a lot of different cream products that are sold. They've got several different highlighting options, just different formats to work with that aren't necessarily the traditional powder. But I was kind of surprised by the size being just so small, and they say that this thick stick foundation is super portable, multi-purpose foundation, creamy buildable payoff, medium coverage, lightly luminous, and this product is 0.16 ounces, so it's definitely the smallest foundation stick that I have. Prior to this, the smallest foundation stick that I had was the Makeup Revolution one at 0.21 ounces. And then what seems to be a very common size is in the 0.3 range, 0.32, that's what my L'Oreal is, Anastasia. And it's crazy because I really want to do this video for you on foundation sticks and then things just keep cropping up, you know? But it's all getting tried. I'm really trying to put the focus on that. So this foundation stick, guys, that you are gonna pay $18 for, I mean, it's not a lot of product. Like, that's it. You know, I mean, this has had some uses for me. I've been experimenting with it a little bit, but this is essentially what you're getting. Just that much product there. Or actually about that much, because the bottom part was just the plastic cap. I want to know, what do you guys think? Like, does the amount of product matter to you a lot? Do you really look at, you know, I'm getting this much in this product, this much in that product, like, is it worthwhile? I just feel like whenever we're looking at a price range that really goes outside the drugstore realm, that's when I'm starting to look a little more critically at that kind of thing. Anyway, what this is going to be today is our foundation, our concealer, and, you know, I'm not even going to be topping it with powder. I'm just sticking to the 5 Flesh products that I have, okay? So I have this in the shade 08 Custard. So again, the outer packaging is the exact same shade as the stick inside, and that's the way it is for every shade, which I do think is cool. So I'm gonna swipe this on, and just comparing it to like the texture of the Makeup Revolution stick that I most recently used, this feels a little thicker. This has even more of, I don't know, maybe a little more tacky feel in it, but it blends out pretty easily, as you can see here. I could have maybe gone a little bit darker with my shade, honestly. The strange thing about this foundation is that while it feels a little bit thicker and like, gosh, is this gonna be really, really dewy and sticky feeling on the skin, once you do kind of get it blended in, I don't know, it feels even more smooth and maybe just a hair more dry than like that Makeup Revolution stick did. It's kind of strange. I mean, I feel like it looks pretty matte. I'm not really seeing the luminosity that was mentioned in the description. I feel like I was more luminous with the Fast Base stick from Makeup Revolution. But it is decent coverage. I would say that's medium, and now I'm going to sort of pinpoint a few areas to just cover with my smaller brush. This is my Pro Airbrush Concealer brush from Sephora. So I'm gonna go over that again. I'm gonna also hit the sides of my nose. It's kind of fun to do a little like low maintenance makeup look, you know what I mean? Like not follow every single step that I might usually do, you know, with the powder and setting and everything like that. Because while I have tested this foundation before, I haven't really put it through the motions of like making it do everything and making it be the only product step, you know, like this. So I've put it over my melasma and I'm using a smaller, more targeted brush to just go tap, 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 tap over it and just see what kind of coverage I can really achieve there. Same with the under eye, like I can still see a little under eye darkness. I stayed up late watching parts 2 and 3 of the Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star series, as I think the whole rest of the internet was too. Okay, that's our coverage for today. I'm not completely disappointed. I mean, I feel like I could have done a little bit better. Having a tiny bit deeper shade could have assisted in that, but my skin is not coming away feeling super dewy. It just feels like it's got a light amount of moisture going on there. Next, I'm gonna use a cream highlighting stick. It's in the shade called Startle. Startle! This came in several shades. This is the lightest one. There's no glitter in it, but it's definitely capable of giving like this nice dewy finish. So I think what I'm gonna do is pull a little bit up in this zone, and I'm gonna blend it in just with this little brush that I used for concealer. And I'm popping this on before my blush just because I feel like it'll make sort of for the easiest blending. I've definitely put cream product on top of powder. It's not like I am opposed to doing that. I just feel like I'll start here and show you how the blush looks on top of this, and then if I want more glow, I'll add a little bit more of the highlight. To me, I don't feel like I look as though I have a really like prominent highlight. I just kind of made the texture of the foundation stick look a little more dewy. So make sure I'm not too sticky here because I don't want the blush to go on looking patchy. I'd have a little dirt on my boots. Do you ever have one of those mornings when you wake up and the sunrise absolutely like takes your breath away? Like I looked out to the east this morning and it was like, well actually even looking out our windows to the north, it was kind of flooding through this beautiful like corally pink sky. So gorgeous. Anyway, let's move along here. Tangents! This is the Flesh blush, the powder blush. They also have, I think, a cream, but I decided I kind of wanted to understand what their powder products are doing also, and this shade is Pulse. This is actually a really pretty rosy shade. I've worn this before and I love the tone of it. It's a matte blush and it's just like a beautiful rosy shade. So I'm gonna pick some of that up on my brush and just kind of swirl that here on the outer part of the apple of my cheek. Again, hoping it doesn't cling in a weird way to my cream products since I have no powder on. That's really something you need to think about if you're not powdering your skin, but yet you are putting on a powder blush at some point in time. Like, how is it gonna stick to what's underneath? It's just such a rosy, pretty shade. I can't... I do like it, but at the same time, I know I can come up with this color at a lower price too. It reminds me of a certain shade for sure of an e.l.f. blush that I've used before. Okay, are we looking fresh? I do like that shade. I mean, that did bring me to life skin-wise. I think I do now want to put a little more of the glow on. I think I'll just tap it in with my fingers, just kind of right in here. Just a little extra life. Yeah, it's a good place for it. How are those 3 products alone, just for a little no makeup here? I mean, it did even out my skin well enough. It gave me glow, it gave me blush. For the ultimate most natural of days, I could stop here. But we are gonna continue on with the eyes, and they have released an eyeshadow palette, but that's like the only thing eye-wise in this line. I guess they have an eye and cheek gloss that looks like a real jelly type thing that I think they said was inspired by the runway, but there are no brow products in this line, at least not yet. No mascaras, no eyeliners, just a 9-color palette, which I have. So I tell you what, I'm gonna fill in my brows just a little bit, put on a little bit of an eye primer, and then we'll come back and use the palette. Hi, we're back. I think I wanna go ahead and put on the lipstick just because everything's looking so natural. I kinda wanna show you what it would be like without a lot of eye at all. I got one of their traditional lipsticks here in the shade called Hungry, and the cut of the actual stick is kind of cool. You see what they did there? It's got like a little longer surface where you might actually put it on your lips, but it's pretty and it feels incredible. To me, this is the product in the brand that feels even more luxurious than the price tag of the products. The other things I'm kind of looking at thinking, did it need to be that expensive? I have one Tom Ford lipstick, and this reminds me a lot of that texture. Oh, it's creamy as all get out. So smooth, and I do like the shade. It feels very, very natural. It feels like this could probably double as a cream blush if you wanted it to. I'm just in a mind of multitasking today, but I knew this color was so natural. I kind of just wanted you to see the face looking like this. But if you really love and rejoice over the creamy lipsticks, the cream formulas, this is very well done. I love the way that feels. Now we're gonna go to this palette. It says this tidy palette holds 7 perfect neutrals, 1 flashy gold, and a brave bright pink. It also has a mirror. I'll always point out for you when there's a mirror. Here are the shades, my friends. We've got these mattes down here, which I could have probably made a combination of those work in the brows. And then here's your shimmery taupe. This is kind of a rosy color here, the bronze. This is a soft gold here, your shimmery white, and there's that pink they talk about. At a glance, this really reminds me, and on the website too, just seeing a picture of it, it totally reminded me of the MAC and Aaliyah collection eyeshadow palette. Just the certain kinds of browns, taupes, and then something that looks sort of like an orchid color. Not really sure I understand the choice behind this brush. There's a small, very flat brush here. I'm not really sure why they bothered to include that, but it's there. Here's what I want to try today. I feel like this shade is kind of something special, actually. Yesterday I was playing with it as sort of an afterthought, like I'd put together my whole look and then I thought, well, what about that color? I started adding it in. I want to go straight to the crease with that today, actually. I know it's got some shimmer, but I'm going for this sort of low maintenance, easy, natural vibe today. And I feel like this is going to be perfect. It's no slouch as a little crease shade here now, is it? Now these shadows are decent, I will say that. The mattes are extremely nice and smooth. The little bit of a letdown for me from this palette is that the shades that you kind of expect to get the most punch from are the copper and the pink, and especially this light coppery shade. Like, it really doesn't deliver enough on the eyes. I don't end up really impressed with that shade. Just to cut to the chase here, I mean, this is not a must-have palette. There are plenty of great low-cost palettes out there you wouldn't need to have like this for any particular reason. I'm going to use a little bit of this white. Kind of up here is my highlight. I think it's kind of funny that the brand released all these, like, you know, complexion sort of things, like glowy cream products and the foundations and stuff. And then the only eye product they put out, I guess so far, is this palette. Like, I would have expected maybe some cream shadow sticks or something of that nature from this line. Now what I'm gonna do is take that same shade and pat it on the lid. I'm gonna give you a little sense of what like a one shadow look would be. I guess I did use the highlight shade, but you can sort of see how this color looks all over. It feels so natural. See, that's kind of cool, isn't it? And then I'll pop a little bit of this for an inner corner, like dew, a little dewiness. Yeah, that white ain't bad. It's a little flaky, but it gives you that little spark right here. Now I kind of want to take a little bit of this, which, as I said, I've not been super impressed with, but I'm going to kind of tap it there, tap it on the lid. Just give myself a little more bronzy look. Even applied with the finger, I just feel like it's unimpressive color payoff. And then let's just smudge a little bit of the soft matte brown. Now these mattes are good, trust me, just because I'm not working them a lot into this look, because I already have given them some use and I think they're great. Quality-wise, they're probably just the strongest part of the palette. I mean, they might not look like the most interesting shades ever, but in terms of a matte basic color, they're good. See what I'm trying to do here? I'm trying to give the eye that sneaky definition. Like, nobody could actually look at you and really tell what was going on there, but yet the bottom of your eye doesn't seem lost. From a distance, everything looks somewhat defined. I feel like a pencil brush might be a good plan here also. Same shade, just kind of letting it be a bit more free. I think I will show you guys a little bit of this kind of orchid shade. We'll just let some of it kind of peek up here. And again, the disappointing payoff, you can hardly see it. It should be able to show up somewhat in this capacity, you know? I could see a lot of people wanting to use it as the color that kind of radiates out from the look. But with all these other neutrals, like, that's kind of the thing making this palette look a little bit special, and it's very hard to make it show in that sense. The last thing I'm going to do to finish this look is just curl my lashes and apply the mascara, and then we'll have some final thoughts. Okay, here we are, guys, at the end of the look with a coat of CoverGirl Supersizer mascara on top here. I'm actually loving the overall, like, really natural vibe of this look, and I am impressed by what the foundation stick and the foundation alone was able to do, because keep in mind, we didn't put on a separate concealer, we did not do any kind of powder, we just didn't rely on anything but the foundation stick. And I must admit, it did a good job. Like, it was actually buildable on certain areas, and yet even though I built it up, it doesn't look heavy. It looks really skin-like. The texture of it was easy to work with. It didn't come away feeling overly sticky at the end. That being said, I have used a lot of different foundation sticks lately, both drugstore and high-end, and I felt like just the other week, you know, that Makeup Revolution stick did give really, really full coverage. It did feel a little bit more dewy at the end, and I definitely don't think I could get away with not setting that product though. But I've also liked the L'Oreal Infallible foundation stick as well. I guess what I'm trying to get at here is I think an overall expectation you should be able to have for a foundation stick is that it is going to multitask for you in some way. You know, it's going to be able to sort of be quick and act as foundation, act as concealer, not have an unbearable texture to be left with on your skin. And so the fact that this can do that doesn't necessarily make it outstanding to me. It just makes it, you know, able to deliver on the basic expectation of a foundation stick that I have. But I will say the texture is nice. It didn't cling to any dry areas. There's just a little bit of thickness to it, and you would think you would come away with a dewier, tackier feel when all is said and done, but you really don't. Is it worth the $18 for this very small amount of product though? That's kind of got me thrown. I think it's really good, but I don't think I'd repurchase it at that cost. The highlighting stick I think is pretty cool, especially in this shade called Startle. I've streaked some on right there. It just gives your skin like this naturally dewy appearance. And I think that's really neat because I actually don't feel sticky to the touch. I just kind of have this dewy glow. Still, there is something kind of similar to this effect from e.l.f. It's their Shimmering Facial Whip. Choose the white option. This is a lot like the effect that I get from like a Becca Liquid Shimmering Skin Perfector, and the e.l.f. is a lot like that. But it does just kind of look like dewy, luminous, hydrated skin. So it's a cool product, but not a one-of-a-kind effect. Love the lipstick. The lipstick is the most outstanding thing for me, actually, because I feel like the texture is just, oh, so creamy. I'm talking to you cream lipstick lovers out there who like to put something on and just feel it absolutely melt into the lips, glide across. It doesn't have a heavy feel to it at all once it's on the lips, but there's enough thickness to feel just good and secure and like it's not going to go anywhere. And this shade could not be more just natural, everyday, a little bit of warmth to it, you know, but I actually think that's beautiful, and I loved the look of that color pairing with that sort of rosy eyeshadow there in the center. But let's talk about the powder blush first before we move to the eyeshadow palette. High quality, very pigmented. This shade could look, I think, really beautiful on a darker skin tone because I went light with it. The thing is, if you want a really good matte blush from the drugstore, City Color is an amazing line for that. So are the Milani Rose blushes. Like, those are stunning. And you would definitely be able to find something that has this sort of rosy depth. And this eyeshadow palette, as I said earlier, I really like the mattes. The shimmers are hit and miss. I don't see it as a must. There are plenty of other eyeshadow palettes out there that I think you'd be more impressed with, and you'd spend much less on them. But just to give you a little color inspiration though, this shade right here, that kind of taupey with a hint of rose in it, I think makes a really great one shadow look. As in, pop it on your lid, put it in the crease, or put it in the crease, pop it on the lid, whatever order you like to do there. You could smudge that same shade under the eye and have just a really easy low fuss thing going on, because the sheen of it will catch the light a bit more on your lid and it will recede more in the crease, and it's a really good shade for that technique. Now, I didn't reference staying power of the foundation stick much yet. I felt like it has had good staying power actually when set with a powder and used more in the traditional sense of stay in your lane, be the foundation, I'll put on other concealers and powders. It was actually really good in that sense, but this is my first time wearing it without setting it at all without using any other thing on the skin. So I'm really intrigued about staying power. So we're going to do some check-ins and we're gonna see if I turn into a greasy mess. But this is how I'm starting and I'm kind of happy with the finished look. I just think some of these products are replaceable. Like if you're looking at it and kind of raising an eyebrow at the price, unless this thing is gonna wear like iron all day long on this August day without being set, I'm thinking there are other options out there. Hey guys, here's a staying power check-in, midday. It's about 1:45. I feel like the coverage is still doing pretty good. Like I actually expected I'd be more shiny right now than I am, considering there is zero powder on my face besides just the blush. But there has been a slight wear down, like around my nose. I can see broken capillaries, a little redness showing through there. I feel like I can actually see the melasma showing through a little bit more now. While there's not a really gross, nasty feeling wear down at this point, there's just a little shine and just a little fade of the product. The eyes still look pretty good though. The lip color, as you can see, has worn off. That's the status right now. So here's what happened, guys. I went ahead and went swimming, but I didn't like swim under the water. I was just sort of floating around. But I did apply more sunscreen. It was like a Coola SPF 30 sunscreen from a tube, and I just smoothed it on top of my skin, and I was like, who knows what's gonna happen to my makeup after this. But everything is actually holding up incredibly well for not having powdered my skin at all. Like there has been major breakdown around the nose, but beyond that, like I'm really shocked at the way the rest of my skin looks, because I even got wet. Like I have this thing where I try to like jump onto one of my floaties, that like I get it in motion and then I try to like jump on it, and I inevitably got water on my face. But like, isn't this crazy? It's been like now nearly 12 hours. Just thought I'd update you on that. I really tried to commit to the staying power test today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.